I'm Ebong.
And I'm Kate, and today we're dishing with you from the brand new, not even opened, Riss, located at 2275 L Street Northwest.
And our guest today is Kassie Rempel. She is the designer and owner and just fabulous shoe lady of the shoes LillyBee.
Correct.
And, you know, Kate always likes to ask people, you know, Washington is supposed to be Hollywood for ugly people. Why is that so
But I don't
not
believe
true?
that.
She doesn't believe that, and I don't believe that either. But I do believe that the big problem with Washington women is really ugly, sensible shoes. So I am not one of those people who believes in that. I believe in a good, strong, high heel to get you through the day. How can we get women in Washington to have more shoes that are classy like this?
Well, I think we need to make them a little bit more functional. And like Ebong here, I am a CPA. And so my wardrobe usually consisted of black and navy and gray suits. Mm-hmm. And I looked to my accessories to really diversify myself and to give me unique personality. And I realized at the time, and this was, you know, I'm dating myself, but this was about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that there really wasn't anything that was comfortable that I could make it through a whole work day that was fashionable enough to appeal to, you know, those qualities that I was looking for in accessories at the time. So I started Simply Soles, which is a website and a company that I started about 5 years ago, and I started with a 1-800 number, a tape gun, and some shoes in my dining room. So I had a catalog, and people were calling. They were thinking that we were some offshoot of Neiman Marcus, which I couldn't be more flattered, but it was really kind of funny because I'm just sitting there in my dining room with, you know, my
That's
little
where you get the
cellular
soundtrack
phone.
of like some store sound. Like, yes, yes, in fact we are.
If
Yeah.
all businesses could have that affiliation
I know.
right
Except
from the
then the
start.
dog barks in the background, you know, the whole ambiance is ruined. But to go back to your question, I think we need sensible shoes. And so I look for things like, you know, a chunkier heel. This shoe
That
right
I
here.
like. We'll just get back to the chunky heel after you tell me about this one.
Okay, this one has this little mini platform
Mm-hmm.
under the toe, and you really don't understand its use until you wear them. And what happens is your toes kind of plateau out versus just continue down this, you know, this incline. And so it becomes a shoe that you can wear all day.
More comfortable, probably.
Absolutely. And this right here, this is my #1 selling shoe.
Actually, I love this shoe. I'm serious.
This is the first one you picked up.
That's the first one I picked up. First one I picked up.
Really?
Why did you go for it first?
I think because it gives a perception of a heel. However, it's still in the flat.
Right, and you know, a lot of women,
course.
including myself, I wear pants a lot. And when you have a pointy toe, it actually elongates the leg, and it looks great with pants. I really prefer pointy toes with pants. And so I sell a bunch of different lines at Simply Soles. I sell Tory Burch, Betty Muller, Taryn Rose, and LillyBee in its first season, which I debuted in spring 2008, became my best-selling line in its first debut.
So this is your own. Is this your own line?
This is my own line.
Versus like Taryn Rose. I've heard Taryn Rose and Tory Burch. So
Absolutely.
you also carry those as well.
Yes.
And how did you? I mean, you're saying out of necessity. I think that's how I started my business, out of necessity as well. And out of necessity, you were a CPA, and you said you needed to find, you know, functional and comfortable shoes that actually that fit, you know, the perception you wanted. So how did you go from, you know, being a CPA to sitting in your dining room with your tape gun and your 1-800 number?
Well, it took a lot of research. I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, you'll find that they had this idea for a long time, and they finally mustered up the courage and the finances to start the business. And so it took me about 2 years to figure out how to start a catalog business, because at the time, being a CPA, I did not have time to go to a bunch of stores and shop for something that I wanted to purchase. I needed something that was more efficient, and so I wanted to be a catalog. And 5-6 years ago, no one was putting any attention to accessories and catalogs. It was always about the model and the clothing, and then there'd be a little teeny little circle. Oh, you might also like these pairs of shoes. Well, I couldn't see what I was buying, and even though there still was a $200 price ticket, or that or more, I really didn't know what I was buying until I actually received the product. So it took time, and actually, I didn't start my own collection until 4 years of having Simply Soles. 4 years of having worked with other designers We do a lot of exclusives with different designers. So with Betty Muller or Chimahara, we work with them to create styles that are only found at Simply Souls. And so through that experience, I found the courage to kind of branch off and to do something that I felt was a void in the market. The LillyBee shoes, they're all under the $200 price point. A lot of the other lines that I carry are, most of them are $250 and
It's
up.
like a bridge.
And
like
are
a
they-
bridge,
It is,
yeah, it's a
absolutely.
bridge.
And made in Brazil.
They're made in Brazil.
So it's like, I mean, this is not crappy shoes. These are some quality shoes with quality design. And do you then design all these shoes too, or do you have?
I work with the factory in Brazil to design them. Please don't ask me to take a pencil and draw out a shoe design or anything. I am not that type of designer. Basically, I start with a last. A last is basically the construction of a shoe, and I say, okay, well, this in particular, this is the shoe that I'm wearing right now in this color right here. But it's so incredibly comfortable. So once you find something that works, you're like, okay, well, let's change the materials, let's change the look, let's add a bow. Let me give you an example. This is
Sorry.
our best-selling shoe right now for fall.
I
People
can-
love
yeah.
this shoe. It's very wearable. I think every woman needs this shoe in her
Simple black
wardrobe.
wedge shoe. You can
And-
walk around town.
And you don't get stuck in all the
And the
little
grates.
crevices and all. Yeah.
That's
Right.
why that's why I was going to
Cobblestones.
go whenever she was pointing out this one. I love a tall heel, but that's why this one makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Exactly.
The cobblestones are just
Killer.
they'll kill your shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's great about this one? These look great with jeans, and you know that jeans are all a
Jeans is
mainstay in
fabulous.
our wardrobes. But to go back to my point, so this was the best selling shoe for fall. So this is what I'm doing for spring. So I've taken this and I'm like, okay, well, let's play with different colors. I want to do lighter colors for spring. I want to add a bow. And that's kind of how the line evolves.
So these are all the shoes that you want to have in your closet, and
I
that's
do
why
have
they're
these
selling so
shoes.
well. We all want these shoes in our closet.
Well, why did you decide? What do you think in DC? Why did you decide to be catalog and physically have a store? Because you physically have a store now.
Well, that's right. And I just opened the store in November of last year, which, I don't think there could have been a worse time to open a store.
know that. We've heard that from so many
November of
people.
last year. It was horrible. But thankfully, I did have a successful catalog and a website. A lot of my business is website driven. And so what happened was that I just realized that there was no presence in DC. And even though some customers were shopping traditional channel of catalog and website, no one in DC knew about me. And so I wanted to create that area where people in this geographic location can come to us. And we do have customers that come from Gaithersburg, and they know about us and like, oh, finally we get to meet you. And so it's kind of like pulling back the veil a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's really been fun for me to have this business for so long, never having met a single customer. And now I get to introduce myself, and it's been great. Very rewarding.
We find that people in DC like local entrepreneurs. They like that story of, I was doing something that I was good at but wasn't necessarily my passion, and now I found something that
Exactly.
I'm great at and is my passion. We're happy to share that with our viewers. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Absolutely.
And as always, thank you for coming and watching this episode of The District Dish. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at The District Dish, and tell us what you think about Cassie's shoes and anything else that we've talked about as our friend on Facebook.